Hello Blender folks, welcome back. This is Gnomes. So today we're gonna do the dual fan bone system for the online workshop. So if you want, get ready with the blend file and the mini player, right? And anyways, you can pause the video, even if it's stream, that works. Okay, so this is the dual fan bone. So basically it's here, and what it does is that when we check this dual here, so when I pause here, there is some sort of automation. It's not very much, but the idea is that they will derotate like this in this direction, and of course if we bend the bones, the limb in the other direction, if that is possible in the rig, then they will bend, then they would bend in this direction here. So they bend in the direction of the oblique angle, not the sharp angle that forms during because it's the sharp angle. This part will be very critical in terms of the deforms. It will be suffering a lot. Well, this usually suffers from volume loss. This suffers for horrid artifacts of rotations and bending. Yeah. So let's go back here, and we're gonna start straight, folks, because I'm making this more efficient. We'll see how far we go with this this stuff. The custom arm rig, there are additional features that I would like to implement, so we'll be sticking with this project a little more until we go for something else like the legs and the head for the master puppeteering skeleton for 3D animation in Blender. But yeah, so I'm gonna do the make dual fan bone helper bone setup for forearm, upper arm, the elbow, sorry, actually wrist. Yeah, this is wrist. This is the elbow, and then the shoulder. There's a name for the joint, but doesn't care. It's a too anatomical name. Okay, so there are a lot of work to do here because this is a bit time consuming, and we're gonna even make the waves because it's important. So I'm on stage 001. So we need to start by looking at the mechanism helper bones. So select this. We can hide the control. So we see they are bendy bones. Control 1, we see that. Oh, by the way, sorry folks, we need to enable this, right? Yes. Okay, the auto zooming here on cursor. So here is the mechanism forearm, and the mechanism upper arm. We'll use these as targets, and we're gonna make a buffer bone, a mechanism buffer bone for the hand, for the wrist joint, but this will be later. So we'll start with very simple stuff. So grab, for example, yeah, we need to tab on edit mode. So we need a new collection here, bone collection. So we'll add here. Actually, sorry, no, it's not here. It's the deform rig. So gonna click here, click this. Also, if it's outside, let's parent here, and let's bring this as this is the bone manager extension, right? It's very good. I totally recommend it. So helper, we'll call this helper fan. Yeah, all the fan bones that will exist in the rig, they will be in this collection inside the deforms. I'll give it a separate color so it's easier to identify. These are customized patterns, I think, but whichever thing works. So here we start by let's look Alt H. Okay, there's nothing hidden here. We need to look at the unsolo everything here. Control 1. we'll start with the tweaks. Yeah, we'll use the tweaks as references right now. So it's a tweak collection here. So Shift S, select cursor to active, or Q selection. No, it's selection to active. It's 3. Shift S3. Then it's at the head of the joint. Shift A here, because we're gonna make new bones here. It will be easier. Looks like Shift A. I've added a bone in the wrong collection. No, it's just because it is not solid. Let's enable this. Okay. Now collapse this. Let's scale this bone down. It's bad. Let's backslash here to individual origins. You see here. Then scale down. Then we're gonna, yes, totally align here. Shift select the wrist. Control Alt A to align. Control 3 to look at the axis. Yeah, they are aligned, correct. We're gonna change this, but first I'm gonna Shift Control Alt A for B-bone size. It doesn't matter the B-bone size here. Scale up a little. This will be very big bone. Shift Alt B. We're gonna display as is a shortcut, right? B-bone. This we sorry, not B-bone. Shift Alt B. Octahedral, because it's very easier to look at the. It's very important to look at to know the orientation of the dual fan bone, in my opinion. So it's less complicated. So here we're gonna change the color. Tab here, we're gonna look for the viewport display. I'm gonna use this orange here. Looks good. And yeah, it's the same. It's annoying, but what can I do? Let's change this to maybe teal here. Okay. All right, it doesn't matter, but I'm gonna use this. So I'm gonna scale this a lot because, yeah, it is weird, but it won't affect anything. It will be a deformed bone, while these tweaks are not deformed bones. Okay. By the way, we are not making on edit mode here this x-axis symmetrization. So turn this off, disable it. It's very important to start rigging with that without this option. Otherwise it's really tragical for the bones naming. You have to rename everything. It's very, very annoying. So it's better to start without this, unless you know a better workflow, but I don't. So, okay, let's make this bone quite big, and let's rename F2 to, this will be a help instead of a def. So it's a way to get the deform vertex groups in the right, in an organized fashion in the vertex groups. So because it's the hand, we're gonna make it a helper for the arms, right? I use this name here, and you could do technically for A, for 1, for, okay, it's not at the joint of the shoulders, so it's not at the joint of the elbow, it's the joint of the hand. Yeah, but that will be too long and maybe a bit more complicated, but it will organize the things, right? Yeah, I think it's too complicated to read. At some point it gets dirty. So here we're gonna get it as wrist. This will be our first wrist left, and it's already a deformed bone by default. We're gonna now Shift D. Shift D, and we're gonna flip Alt F. You see now, this is why it's good to be an octahedral. Then we're gonna Control backslash. This is my snap thing here. You can totally change this shortcut. So Control backslash here, or just access here. Make sure we have vertex, snap target vertex, could be closest. And we don't want this align rotation to target. This will snap very crazily. We also do not want to include non-edited, and all this is fine. Okay, now we grab this bone, hold Control, and snap it here. It doesn't matter the 3D cursor here. All right, so and apply with left click. Now, yes, it's very big. They don't need to be the same size, but what you need to do here, end panel here, and let's look at the mechanism skeleton because it is here, and panel collapse. We're gonna parent them accordingly. There's a little problem here, is that we don't have a mechanism bone for the hand. So let's do this right now. So we can use this tweak here, but let's do something smarter here. We're gonna click here first in this mechanism skeleton collection where the others are. We're gonna shift D here. Okay, this doesn't work because it is duplicated from here. So what we're gonna do is Alt M. We're gonna move this selected tweak bone here to the mechanism. Okay, entirely move it, right? Sorry, Alt M. Okay, map. So now it's here. Let's Shift Control Alt A to change this. We're gonna maintain this as a B bone because it's easier to visualize. We're gonna try to make it so sometimes I scale like this, sometimes I Shift Control Alt scale B bone size. So just trying to get it like a pyramidal thing right here, so it's easier to visualize. So we want it to be we want these bones to be easier to select. So this is only reason why we are making them as big like that. And we should take into account maybe the control skeleton. Yeah, this looks good enough, right? And even the but we have widgets. We have widgets, Control 4. Sorry, I'm tabbing a lot of stuff, but just to show here, right? So let's go back here. So I want the tweaker, I want the mechanism skeleton, and I want the helper fan bone. Okay, so let's make this Shift select both of them. Shift Control Alt A. Let's make them a little bigger. That's right. And this is slightly smaller. Let's click this and change this as buff hand left. We're gonna need this. It's very fundamental. We're gonna change this color to this grayish color. We're gonna parent it to the I've created this so we can start making parenting madness. So here, this one, the helper wrist, we're gonna shift click the buffer and Control P, keep offset. Now if you don't see the relationship lines, Control Q, now we see them. They are here. I can assign shortcut for that. All right, for Control 2 for me, Control 3 for the axis. Okay, now we Control 3, we need the axis here. This one, it is exactly on that joint, so I can hold Control with those options there and snap again. So you see it has the same alignment of the it's not for this one is okay. No, it's not okay. Sorry folks, we can make some improvements here. I want these fan bones to be aligned with their respective deformed bones. These mechanism bones, it needs to be aligned with the tweaker bone in this special case setup. This is very, very complicated, the wrist, depending on the IK bone constraint setup we've got. And so it's very, very hard to have a copy rotation bone constraint to automate these bones here. So we're gonna use a transformation bone constraint, and the others we can do with copy rotation bone constraints. Okay, so we're gonna look at the deformed skeleton here, and what I need is this hand bone here, right? So hold Alt, left mouse button clicks, and deform hand. Okay, so we can already parent this. You see that the parent here, relations, if you don't see here, it is here, right? But we have this extra one. So what we want here is to change. You see it's parent to the tweak wrist, this one which has, which is a control bone, right? But what we want is to actually change the parent of the hand. So gonna go and tap to edit mode, shift select the buffer, Control P, keep offset. Okay, so now these are parented. And so you see that the hand follows the hand deform bone follows the hand, and the mechanism buffer bone follows the, well, it has this orientation. Just to make sure, select right, shift left click here and Control Alt A. Okay, because now the bones there are too many axes. We can shift select both and shift H and check. Yeah, it's all right. Alt H to unhide all, and deselect all with Alt A. And now next, okay, we need to parent this. We won't parent it to the hand bone. We'll parent the helper for wrist left bone to the buffer bone here, because it's okay, it's already parented. It's already parented. This has the wrong parent. We're gonna parent it. It has the same parent right now because it's a duplicate. I'm gonna parent here to the, so keep offset. Okay, now this got the right parenting, and this is parent to the master I key, which is not appearing here. It's the red one here. Okay. All right. So now we need to do something about, okay, the alignment. We gotta get this bone. Shift Alt left click here. We want to grab also the hand deform bone. Control Alt A, we're gonna align the fan bone to it. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing for this. This part is a little trickier because okay, I could select this bone. Now we're gonna rename it, so it will be, instead of wrist, yeah, wrist. Okay, so here there are different ways to name it, but you know, we could do like wrist back, wrist front, or wrist, yeah, I will just leave it 001. This is more complicated. This one is the easiest one, and this one is more tricky. So we're gonna make this the 00, so it's pointing backwards. So we're gonna we need to align it, its roles and its alignment. You see, it's not aligned with the mechanism, which is aligned with the bendy bone, with deformed bone of the forearm, right? So we need to align them with whichever of them, but like the mechanism one, Control Alt A. But then if you do Control Alt A here, you see it goes in the other direction. This can work, because then what I can do is reselect it from this mess here. Keep clicking until you can grab it. Alt F. This will break the parent, but that's okay, we haven't parented yet. So grab it and just snap it here. So it has the same alignments now, but because we have flipped, it might not have the right orientations, but at least it is aligned, just reverts. So right now, if I shift select the mechanism, shift H, we see that the alignments are, yeah, they are reversed. That seems okay, but we could do something like select the helper, shift select this one, shift N to recalculate role to active. Okay, so this is a matter of preference in principle, because this is how we gonna make the automation from the bone constraints or drivers. I'm gonna use bone constraint. So this alignment here, yeah, you see now the x-axis is inverted. So I think I'm gonna use this one, right? And now it might be a bit complicated, Alt H, to understand why, but it's basically that since it's pointing in the other direction than this, and we are gonna use the same target, the buffer bone, to automate them for the bone constraint, since they are in pointing to mostly opposite directions, then we have to do something like that. Yeah, it will simplify our setup. Okay, now we select the wrist 001, shift select the mechanism forearm, Control P to keep offset. So now just click the forearm. You see it is parented to the mechanism forearm, so this is correct. And this one is parented to the buff hand left, which is also a mechanism bone. And if we are not sure, N panel, Alt M to mechanism, Shift M to mechanism skeleton. Right, now this is correct. This one, apparently I place it in the wrong collection. No, okay, it's fine. They are in the right collection. Okay, so now we want the helper and this mechanism skeleton again. Control 3, we don't want that. So what I can do here is just I could grab both, but no, let's do this again. It's fun. Shift D, this bone here, we have it already. G, hold control and snap here. Now grab this, Shift Alt, click, left click the mechanism forearm, Control Alt A, so align it. Grab on, select only this helper. Let's make it about here. Here should be enough. Let's look at the tweaker bones here. Yes, this is good enough to visualize. So let's Shift Control Alt A to B-bone scale this a little more. Okay, they are very selectable here so far. If we check the other, okay, this is very good, very selectable. And here you should consider Control 4 on pose mode. So yeah, so very selectable. That's all we need here. Now we're gonna save. We're gonna parent this one already to the Shift Alt. N panel. Let's hide this stuff. It's distractive enough. Select this. We're gonna first rename this to elbow and .l. So we're gonna parent it Shift Alt A to mechanism forearm. Control P, keep offset. Now we select. It's already aligned, right? If you're not sure, Shift Alt the mechanism forearm, Control P, keep. Yeah, it's just parented. All right. So it's aligned. Sorry. Let's Control Alt A. All right. So select this and this again. Shift H. You see, perfect alignments. Okay. Now what we do? We're gonna Shift D this bone again. We're gonna snap it here. It's easy. So we're gonna just Shift click here and Control Alt A. So it's aligned now here. Now let's snap it here and Alt F. The Alt F won't change the orientation. So I mean, it won't change the. Yeah, it will change the direction, but not the orientation. So that's great. So it's still parallel, but we'll need to make that roll. So we're gonna Shift click the mechanism, Shift N, and to recalculate roll to active bone. There we go. So now Shift H to hide both them. So you see, same pattern here. So the Z-axis, like a Rigify generated rig, the arm bones, the Z-axis is pointing to the direction of the main bending. That's correct. Okay, Alt H, deselect all, Alt A, save. So we're gonna, yeah, now this is elbow 001. This is elbow main. Okay. We're gonna parent it, forgot, so select it, Shift Alt, no, Shift click, left click here, Control P, keep offset. All right, so what this does, Control 3 to hide this axis. Let's bring the main here, just Control 4, no, sorry, Control Tab to 2, pose mode. Let's grab this master I key. If they don't see the gizmos, it's Control 4. The shortcut that we've made for this show gizmos, viewport display for the armature data, right? Yeah, you can shortcut this too. So Control 4. And then we can now we can see that these bones, they are not automating. They don't even have waves on their own, but they are following very crudely the setup, right? Just now a few more to build. So gonna reset Alt Q, select all Alt Q to clear our transforms. Let's hide this. Let's bring back to this fan collection here. Let's see if, okay, we were creating the bones in the right thing, right? Make sure this is selected. Now we're gonna Shift D this bone, snap it to looks like we have a displaced joint there accidentally. Oh no, sorry, it's just this thing. It's a bit distractive, so it's yeah, they don't need to have the same scale. Really, this is very, it can be arbitrary. Don't. Okay, so snap it there. Shift left click here on the upper arm mechanism bone. Control Alt A, align. Control 3 to look at the axis. Okay, scale this bone here, maybe about here. F2 helper for shoulder. Let's delete this. That's right. Is it already parented? Yes, mechanism for arm. Shift D. Now we're gonna shift click here, Control Alt A. This is the mechanism of the shoulder, by the way. Now we're gonna Alt F, and we can also shift click here, then Shift N to recalculate bone to other active bone. And now we're gonna snap it here and maybe make it about here. Yeah, and then is it parented? No. Shift select the mechanism, Control P, keep offset. So now these all are set up. They'll follow whichever. Let's enable the masters and the skeleton. Control 3, this axis won't be in the way. Control 2 to hide the parenting lines. So if I grab this shoulder, Control shoulder, here I press R 2 times. So it's the track ball there. So you can see already, it looks like something is going weird ahead there. What's happening here? Does this bone has any bone constraint? Mechanism for arm. Oh, mechanism, it has wrong parenting. Okay, I forgot to parent. So I forgot, maybe you didn't. So Shift Alt click here. Mechanism upper arm, Control P, keep offset, Control Tab 2 to pose mode again. Let's grab again the shoulder and double R to track ball here. That's good. ESC, select all, which A, and Alt Q, clear all transforms. Okay, so now what we need to do is to create they are positioned, they have the bone rolls correctly set, even this one. Control 3. Yes, I think it's correct. Yeah, it's inverted, right? Just as this one. And this one can be a little bigger, like on edit mode, scale little. Yeah, it will be weird, but it's just here, right? So it's not important. So it also has the, oh, this one might cause some issues. Well, just to keep it, yeah, basically for the fan bones, it really doesn't matter if they I'm having some problem to snap at the joints there. I don't know what's happening. So Shift S, selection to selection to cursor. Okay, this bone was displaced. Oh, this was, no, this was pose mode. Sorry folks, this is It says a reset. I need to be on pause mode. So things are correct here. Okay. So save here. Let's see. The parenting is correct. The roles are correct, except, yeah, this role may be... So in this case, the roles, it's not like a bendy bone. So it doesn't require the handles to be correct. So it is aligned like that because the shoulder is up, right? Even the mechanism shoulder. Oh, by the way, this mechanism shoulder is currently not being a bendy bone. And this is a little mistake here that I've made. So we have, look at the deformed skeleton. We're gonna just select this mechanism. I'll shift alt the depth shoulder, which has bendy bone settings. We're gonna go for the bone tab, and we're gonna look for the bendy bones panel. Let's let's just copy to selected. Apparently here we want hold alt select curved for this both with M, whatever, and then here copy to selected, copy to selected, copy to selected, copy to selected. This one is the important one. It's a variation. Copy to selected, copy to select. This probably is default. We're gonna hold alt. I'm gonna decide to make all these things. Hold alt for all this. Copy to selected and copy to selected. Now we're gonna change these alignments here. We're gonna align them with the mechanism. Yeah. So let's see this. Yeah. So this is aligned. So select the deform. Select Shift Alt the mechanism shoulder, and let's align with Shift Alt the mechanism and Shift N active, and that's it. So now you see this is correct. But I'll keep for the control this alignment because it's pointing up. So it's just for because of other features, right? That's why they have different, because they are not the control bones. They are just some sort of lower hierarchy bones, and it will be beneficial for them because of the bendy bone stuff, necessary even. So Control Tab 2. So here what we need to do is that Control Tab to edit mode. Let's scale this up a little more. So what I want here actually is to, we want to align this with the Shift Alt to the mechanism now, and Shift N to active. All right. So now this also is, let's grab this, let's compare with that. Yeah, they have the similar. Okay, so this will make things easier to visualize. And as for this, oh yes, this has things for the hand, and this one. Okay, so this will also be a little complicated. So I'll make an exception for the hand, the wrist, right? So we're gonna just get them both Shift N. So the active is the second, so it's the hand, the wrist at the hand, right? So okay, but it's very arbitrary, so I'm doing like that because I think that will be better. Control S. So you have these roles set, we have the parenting set, the names are correct, even this one, the last one. The deform, they don't have the deform properties, they are all correct. Double checking here. Yeah, they are all deformed properties. It's all correct. Okay, all good. Then bone display. Yeah, they are octahedral. These fan bones. Then we have bone color. It's fine. Orange color. Then bone size. They are big enough. Yeah, they are easy to select right now. Okay. And that's okay for now. Then we're gonna do some waves here. Or yeah, it will be, before we go for the bone constraints, which is probably one of the most complicated things here for the automation, but we're gonna not do this right now. We're gonna make the waves, which is the super annoying thing. So, but we have a technique here for fan bones, which is very mathematical, let's say, like this. It's very analytical, and that would help So Shift Control Alt Z to look at the overlays geometry wireframe. So this is a shortcut that I've made. We want it visible. We don't want the subdivision surface modifier here for wave paint. So Shift Control Alt I to my shortcut for simplify on the render tab. You need 0 here at viewport, max subdivisions on the, yeah, just viewport. Render is okay, whatever default is. Now, yeah, so it's simplify on. What we need is a mask, so we can select the armature, the mesh object, select. We'll start with the wrist, so you can grab this Shift Alt left click, Control numpad plus, and plus again. Let's add these things. And that should be enough. Yeah, this is enough. Also, Shift Alt left click here. We don't want this, is too much. Save here. We're gonna Control tab to 7 to wave paint mode. So now we're gonna look at the armature object. We get it from here, so we can change something. So I don't want the mechanism thing here. We don't want the control. We're gonna pause later. We don't want the deformed skeleton. We just want the helper. Yeah, that's just this. Actually, sorry, we want the skeleton, but let's take off this star here, this solo option. We just want the skeleton here because we select Alt left click here because we don't want to be wave painting it. It's just we are wave paint mode, right? Shift H on the deformed skeleton only, and now we go back to the helper fan bone collection. Click here. We can now start working, collapse the end panel, and let's start now to, I've just saved. Let's start now doing a trick here. So we need the vertex groups panel here, a data tab for the mesh object, even though I have an armature object selected. So now what we want is to look for this deformed bone, yeah, of the hand. So hold Alt and just click the bones, right? Okay. So what we want here is to duplicate this this vertex group. We're gonna do this for all of them. We're gonna sort of fake batch everything like in production. So we're gonna, because this is tedious, so you're gonna click this down arrow menu here on the def hand, which is by alt click, left click the bone. It already selects its vertex group, but these don't have waves yet assigned to them. So influence waves vertex group. So you're gonna just for the deformed bone. So you're gonna get here of the hand. We're gonna use this copy, duplicate, deform hand. Okay, but I forgot to do something important here. We are gonna Control tab to object mode. This is a bit annoying, right? We're gonna select the armature here, Control 2, tab to pose mode. We're gonna select here the deform hand here again, F2, copy this name, Control C. Now we're gonna Control tab, select the mesh only, Control tab 7. So back to the wave paint mode. Then we select this sorry, I did it wrong. It was not that bone. For that matter, let's see if we can do something here. Select the armature from here. Can we alt click here? F2. No, you see it wants the object name. I want just the name of the bone, but I can't on wave paint mode. So this is maybe I can period here on pose bones, maybe. No, maybe it's here, period. No, I just can't find. So maybe helper, Help for okay, there's something here. Yeah, this difficult. Never used this one, but maybe you can get. So this is the wrist one. Where is the wrist one? Helper. Do you see helper wrist one? I don't see it. Okay, here it is. Control C. Let's see if this works. Now we go back here. It's a very end, a very bottom because it's a new one. Uncollapse this down arrow here. We're not gonna use the sort by name yet. That will ruin our project here. Well, we can, because it will go anywhere there in order. We don't want that. So we're gonna Control V here. Didn't work. So Control C. So double click here. Left click. Control V. No. So apparently we need to do from here, right? Yeah. So I think here. Okay, here it works. So you need to enter here to copy, Control C, ask, and then we can just paste on top. So that's good. So now this has the same waves as the hand. Alt left click. You see it's the same waves. So what you're gonna do is that we're gonna subtract the waves from not the hand but from this one until from here to here until we get just these waves here. We leave these waves untouched. So I probably want to mask this like this. We're gonna invert here. So we're already protecting this, but we're gonna Control plus extend a little. Yeah, this is a bit dangerous, but that's fine. We can select this, Shift Alt here. That's fine. Okay, this is protected. This is not so risky without the mask because we are just gonna use subtraction. So now Shift H here. No, sorry, Control Z. We need to be on the bone. So 3 and Shift H. So just looking now at the bone. So we're gonna 1 to mask again. Then we're gonna save. Okay, we are gonna use the brush here. We're gonna right mouse button click here. I have a graphic palette, but I think you can do without it anyways. Control F, we want maximum. Hold F to augment this. Hold Control and let's take this off. So the only reason why I'm able to do this is because taking off these waves like this in this version of Blender is because let's even hide this. No, it's a bit in the way, right? But that's okay. We can still see the waves. Is that I'll have to show this because it's very important. Hold on, folks. We need to do something here. Okay, so Control, comma. So this is the preferences. Then we need get an extension is the easy waves. Probably you have this is inbuilt, so it's very good. So you install it. Okay, then you can go and add on an easy waves, and then you enable it, and then you need to check always auto clean. I have a highlight video on that topic, so it's very important. Okay, so this is all that I needed to show. Let's go back. And where is the okay here, sorry. Okay, now we go back here and you see hold Control with maximum waves and just keep removing this about here. We don't want these strong waves for the helper bone. We could, but I think it's dangerous, so you're gonna not use I'm not using auto normalize, by the ways. Let's augment this and keep doing this. And about here, that sounds good. Because we have some protection there. So this is just for the wrist joint. So we can smooth this like very crazily. That should work. Here we can smooth, right? It's just because the idea is that this fan bone rotate. It will derotate, but rotate like it will make the mesh of the joint on this region rotate less than usually. If there weren't this helper bone, then this mesh will rotate a lot, and that will cause the horrid artifacts. But by having these waves here on this helper bone, which will not rotate exactly as the hand deformed bone in this case, it will rotate slower, it will lag behind, so it's like a slight derotation, right? And so this will be what the helper bone will sort of correct mathematically and analytically. It's really like saying these vertices here that we are rotate less than they should in the skinning algorithm. So it's very, very accurate, because this bone will follow the rotation of this. The vertices are the same. We are just subtracting. It's just telling the mesh from their vertices. It's like in the linear algebra or I think the skinning algorithm. I think it's used that. It's just saying mathematically some values there. Oh, you see that value, it's too big, the rotation is too much for this vertex on this amount of deformed bone rotation. Transform of I don't know, it's getting right, take off some values of rotation from that, right, reduce, subtract, like if it was, I don't know, maybe it was set let's say it rotated like by 5 times. Now by giving this bone which follows the deformed bone, but it derotates on regularly, it derotates exactly the same, in the same orientation, the same direction. It just, no, not the same direction, it's the same orientation. So it's very exacting or precise, right? But we might have to play a bit more with the range of these vertices. So we don't want to have contamination. This is why I want these ones, I leave just as if they were the original hand. So it's like this is totally countering it's like half. So it's like this will have maximum impact. And as these ones I'm blurring, they would be more subtle. So this is a way to do the very mathematically accurate deforms. It won't save here, for example, as I'm subtracting, right, I can play here. What is not good that I do is that I change the values. Yeah, like I start wave painting here. It could provide some good results, but then we are starting to become non-analytical. Then it becomes more intuitive and more risky. It's less analytic there. But you can try, but I think this will go against the main idea here. Maybe C here, shift, just click here, right click, and let's blur this part too. No, just here, okay. That seems good enough for this. So 1, H, all right, this looks okay. Then, of course, Alt H, we can Alt click, left click this bone. Let's see what it's doing. Maybe here we don't see a great result yet. Maybe it is not accurate, but anyways, this is the main idea, right? So Control Save here. We're gonna do the same here for this one, but now we're gonna batch those things, right? So what we need to do is that we need just those 2 here, the deformed skeleton and the helper fan bone. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna select the armature object, Control Tab here, F2 for the helper wrist here. We're gonna now Control Tab to object mode, select the mesh object, Control Tab wave paint mode, Alt click, you have to reselect it. Okay, there is nothing here. No, sorry, it's not this. We need to Shift Alt. We cannot. So just keep clicking Alt until you get the deform forearm here, which appears. Then we're gonna select here this down arrow menu, copy, duplicate. Then what we're gonna do is Control V here. I don't like this system here. It's too, maybe you like, I find it's too complicated. this collapsing stuff, this is very messy. Then we have to, yeah, I don't like this system here. Yeah, so whatever. So now we're gonna, I don't like the search in the outliner. So here we gonna, not for bones at least. So here we gonna, yeah, we did that. So you see that it's already symmetrized. So this is in the opposite side. That's great. This is a good automation when it's not glitching. So here we got this one ready, but we're not gonna wave paint yet. So this is for this bone, right? Not yet on this, but we're gonna actually, yeah, we're gonna do the same thing here. So we're gonna Control Tab to 4 object mode, then select the armature object, Control Tab to pose mode, select this helper bone elbow for Control F2, Control C, ESC, then there's a lot of command. Go back to the mesh object, Control Tab 7, wave paint mode, then select Alt until you get the forearm again, and then we're gonna copy, duplicate, Control V, there we go. Now this has the same waves of this. This also we're gonna have to yeah, we have to, so this will take off, subtract everything here until about the wrist, and as for this one, for the elbow, we're gonna subtract everything here about until we reach the elbow region, joint region. So here we're gonna, yeah, it's three more to go. So we can do this in another way. So Control Tab to 4 to object mode. What we're gonna do is that we can probably yeah, Control Tab here, F2, Control C, ESC, Control Tab, select here. Maybe you can duplicate. Yeah, let's do different. Control Tab, let's select this. Oh no, it must be on Control Tab. It must be on wave paint mode. Sorry. Control Tab for the mesh object. Control Tab 7, right? Then Shift click here until we get it. Then we're gonna make all the copies here. Copy, duplicate this one. Then we're gonna, yeah, for this it will be duplicate again. Copy, duplicate, and then for hold Alt, left click twice until you get this one, and shoulder, deform shoulder. So click here, copy, duplicate, and there we go. So you have all these 3 copies at the very bottom. Very easy now. Save. So now we need to catch the bone names, and this will be, yeah, so I'm not gonna say what I'm doing here. You can figure it out, right? But you should have practiced enough, right? So basically, but it's slow, right? Sluggish still. Yeah, I need to, or if I remember their names, I can just, yeah, but it's risky, right? So F2 here, okay. Control Tab 7, then yeah, select Shift Alt, left click here. Let's look for the vertex groups. It's a very bottom here, so it's the first one, right? So Control V here. Yeah, left and right. All right, this is correct. Then the second and the third. So the second is help shoulder. Okay, let's do this manually. So you need to go here. We're gonna, oh, we can actually copy. Yeah, you can copy this. Actually, it's a control. Now we're just gonna Control C here inside, right? ESC. Then we're gonna, it's this one. Control double left click. Let's erase this. Is the depth of her arm copy? So it's not the deformed skeleton. Oh, hold on. It is, okay. You know, you need to get, so shoulder left, I think this is correct. Then Control C here, enter, and let's just Control V here. This will be the shoulder 001. Okay, so you have all these helpers now. They have waves, but we need to still edit. So this is the most tedious part. So we need to be using good masks here. So we're gonna control, yeah, we can make the mask from the wave paint mode already. So we're gonna end panel here. We're we're gonna hide the deformed skeleton. This is done, right? We are gonna what you could do here to simplify, select all and let's scale. So select all, scale 0.5. Oh no, they are gonna deform, yeah. But yeah, this is pose mode, whatever. Pose wave paint mode. So no, let's not do this. Yeah, let's work like that. So they're in the way, but that's acceptable. So what we need to do here is that we want to select this one. We're gonna use this tool here, select box, and now we need this paint mask option. Press 1. Okay, we have these masks here, so Control I, we're gonna invert. If you don't have it, just keep using with this tool, select box, Shift Alt, left click, so you can keep adding face loops. These are easy face loops to make. I don't want this one. I don't want these ones. Yeah, we're gonna add up till here. We could have maybe more subdivisions, but this model is simple. So okay, so I want to, oh, sorry folks, it's not like that. Control I. Oh, okay. Sorry, this is a bit confused. So I need to subtract this and maintain this. So Control plus, sorry, Control Z, Control negative. So I'm masking that, and now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna Control I. No, Control I. What I'm doing? Okay, I remember what I'm doing. Now it's gonna Shift Alt, doing this. Shift Alt here. Okay, here we're gonna use C. We have to, no, not hold Shift. Sorry. Right click to cancel. Control Z. C. Then we just need to be dragging this here. I need to be fast. It's like C, right click, C, right click, C, left click will do. C, left, shift left click will add the mask, will disable, right? So left click, let's enable this. So what I want is just to clear these waves here, just to, you see nothing here, nothing that I will erase here. So I'm protecting this part. So I'm gonna right click here, waves to 0, and Control X, set wave. So now I've just subtracted everything, but now we're gonna Shift Alt, left click here. And yeah, so we're gonna just now use the blur tool here. I'm gonna do this, right? This part is easier than the hand, right? The geometry is simple. We're gonna Control numpad 3. Now maybe we can, no, this is good enough, right? Let's leave like that. So just use this one. We could also consider, yeah, we could consider this, blurring this. Okay, this works also. It's not too much. So see, it's very subtle. That should be fine. Now 3 to go back to the bone stuff, then Alt click here. Now we're gonna use this tool again, and we're gonna Shift click. What we need, yeah, we need to subtract all this. So we're gonna protect, sorry, Control Z, wait, what's happening? Oh, I need the mask. So it's 1, Alt A to, yeah, we can use this. All right, so we're gonna Shift Alt this, no, not this, Shift Alt here, then Control plus. Oh, what I'm doing is the, I can do the other direction. Yeah, so let's use here. This is funny. Control plus here, Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, Control plus. Okay, so we're gonna try to erase here. Now we're gonna do the following, folks. We're gonna make a rogue mask here, Shift Alt, and then we're gonna, you see, I wanted this loop to be masked, and now I'm gonna start reducing. Control negative. So you see, it's reducing, but it's reducing in the way that I want. So yeah, so I want to eradicate all this. So right mouse button click, set wave to 0, Control X, set waves. It's this operator here, right? Set wave. It will set to the current weight that we have here. Okay, so now you can probably, let's see, 1 to, all right, so what we're gonna do is control control plus. We're gonna, I think we want to smooth out this, right? So here we're gonna free smoothing out this one. C, let's shift click here, right click, and let's smooth here. Okay, let's smooth everything here, and now smooth here. We can do this last one, very subtle. Okay, this is enough. Now we can also test this. Yeah, this is good enough for me. That should be doing. There might be other ways, of course, but I think this is the most accurate way. So here, 1, let's alt click here, and yeah, we need to, it's very tedious. We got 3 more to go. So but we're gonna do one by one and gonna fix it. Yeah, so I decided to make these waves here because these are very important steps here. So yeah, got this one, this tool, right? Select box, right? So let's we need to, for this, sorry, Control Z, for this bone we have to subtract. Oh, we can do an inversion here. Control I, then Control -1 about here. Yeah, great. Maybe this. C, left click, right click. Let's look around. That's good. So we're gonna set wave to 0. Control X. There we go. And then we just go to the shift space bar, blur here, and let's just blur from the mask there on that region. Yeah, let's go until here is fine. And let's blur a lot, and that's fine. And by the way, there might be some heavy waves on, no, I don't see. Oh yeah, there are some heavy waves here, so this we can blur. Let's see, alt click here. No, there's no heavy waves here. Alt click here, alt click here. Okay, no heavy waves, so that's fine. I don't want red waves in those regions. So now 2 more to go, just this one. So now mask, let's see. Yes, we invert, Control I. Let's Control plus about here, then Control negative. So I want to erase all this. This is just the joint. Control plus. I'm gonna start to smooth this out. Something like that should be good. I see the red waves there. We're gonna erase that later. Okay, here C, left click, right click, smooth here, and then 1 or Control I, and let's just, this is very close to the limit. So I don't want to touch in here, right? So the so just smoothing these red waves there. That's fine. Yeah, not touching here. So Control S. This is done, I think. Yeah, this okay. Then we 1 alt left click here, 1 again to look at the mask, and so here we want to expand, diminish, so negative, Control numpad negative, Control numpad negative, Control numpad negative. Yeah, so here we'll have to do something more manual, I think. C, so shift click here. Oh, sorry, this is, okay, we want this and we want to erase here, so it's actually Control I here, Control negative. Let's see what we get. Yeah, now we have something irregular. You see, this can play with the system. It gets to know finally when it's regular. Wait, I think I'm doing this wrong. Control I. Yeah, okay, so this one is like this. I was confused because this is the torso already. So we want to smooth this, but we don't want to touch here. So because these are already red waves, we're gonna smooth everything here. Yeah, exactly like this. Yeah, and we can totally, yeah, we can we need to define hold control on max waves here. We just want to erase for some reason I'm not able to erase the string. Okay, I don't have string, so let's augment here. Yeah, I want to. Okay, let's see here. Let's add shift left click. Let's do something like that. And yeah, for now, and then we're gonna right click here, set to 0, Control X. There we go. Then 1. Then here just gonna just blur manually here those things. Yeah, I'm invading the area, but it is slower waves than it were, so it is if we can also compare. Here's a bit stronger waves, and here just about here in the bottom, maybe it's not a great idea, but yeah, we're gonna. So let's test this. Okay, so basically this is the fan bone from the shoulder upper arm joint, but from the side of the upper arm, and this is the shoulder joint upper arm from the side of the oh yeah, maybe this is too strong wave, so I don't like when the smooth doesn't take off lots of waves. Okay, we got this. Maybe we got this too. Okay, so this is not sufficient to make the great super advanced shoulder rig, because we need some other systems here for automation. I have this. We're gonna build that in another workshop online workshop. But we can also, the idea is that we can use these fan bones as mechanism bones to create a circular around the joint fanny bones. So these are fan bones, but we can make the fanny bones. I'm calling them like that. I don't know the difference between fan and fanny, but I don't know if there is a technical distinction. But for me, these are fanny and fan, and the big ones, so they can become non-deform mechanism bones because they will hold an alternative rotation or a derotation in relation to the skeleton bones. Or the skeleton bones. And so when the skeleton deformed bone rotates, this one in the upper arm, for example, this one will rotate in the same, and so it can, by having these fanny bones around it as direct parent offset to it, just surroundings, they already derotate the mesh just as if they were equivalent to this bone. So we can just parent offset fanny bones, which will be the deformed bones, and these deformed bones, then we can control just as some sort of mimicking corrective shape keys, we can driver, or we can bone constraint those. Usually transformation bone constraint is good, but there are other ways, right? We can then make them follow this by just parenting, and then beyond this derotation that the mechanism major fan bone is doing, they will also move up, move down, move forward according to what the posing of the shoulder joint needs. So that's what it. So I did this already a lot for the hips thigh joint, which is complex joints too as well. But I never did that exactly for the shoulders. Maybe I did once or twice, but it should work the same way. So this is not. It's functional. It's not great. It's good, but it can be painful. So if we get these things right, then we can get easier result with it, a bit more straightforward. Okay, let's continue here because we need to, we solve these things, right? The waves are ready. So now what we need to, we can improve this, but I think this is from an analytical perspective, that will be the correct way. Maybe it's a few more tweaks, but essentially intuitive tweaks, but essentially here is the one way to approach this fan helper bones. Okay, now we need to get to the next stage. Now the bone constraint. Okay, we start with the simplest ones. So you need to hide the skeleton. We're gonna go for the mechanism skeleton here, and also you keep the fan bones. So what we have here, Control Tab, the armature object selected. We see that we are missing the buffer bone. So I think it is here. No, Alt H maybe. No, so maybe it's in the tweaker. Yeah, it is. No. Okay, it is here, but it is a gizmo because it was a duplicate. So we're gonna have to tab here and I don't want that gizmo now. That I don't want that. So for this on pose mode for the buffer hand, we're gonna delete this backspace, 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 backspace. This one is default is this, although it resets to 0. Okay. Okay, I'll reset here. That's fine. Now tap to pose mode. You see that Control 4. We see that it doesn't have the widget. Okay. So now what we need to do is, we're not starting with this. This is the most complicated part. So complicated that myself, I wasn't able to figure out a good copy rotation bone constraint setup for it. It's just overly complicated, while the transformation bone constraint, it does it straightforward. No pain. Well, it is a little complicated, but it does the job. And these ones we can use, but we need to be a bit careful. Copy rotation bone constraint in Blender is sort of broken, I believe. There's a lot of problems. And the space problem, it's really is one of the most complicated things to be wasting time on it. It's not a good idea. So that's why we can use this. So what we're gonna do here is that what we want is that this, let's start with the elbow because it's the simplest one. So we want whichever bone that we pose, including the main one here, this one, or we want these fan bones to, dual fan bone setup to automate, to derotate, like if the joint is rotated like that, we want rotate along the local Rx. We want to derotate like this, in this direction of bending, and here we want it to become like this. So you see how it will improve the mesh here. So right, so maybe sometimes, so this is the amount, we need to find the amount of derotation here. Just a little thing, it's important. Let's select just the mechanism skeleton here, folks, because we're gonna do something that will facilitate this visualization. We're gonna Shift Alt B, display as, did you know that wire, Shift Alt B, hold Alt here to batch this. Did you know that the wire also display B-bone segments? I didn't know, or I wasn't sure. So Shift Alt B, we don't want that. We want stick for now. Hold Alt to batch, so that we can have a better visualization. Alt H, no, sorry, not Alt H. Let's quick favorite and solo all in pose mode. Let's bring back no panic, just helper, deform, no, not the deform, the mechanism skeleton, and the tweaker, and that's it, right? That's it. Yeah, the main, also the main. Okay, we can reset this, Alt Q. And so select all, Alt Q. Okay, we move them manually. So you see what we, accidentally I've changed this too. So Shift Alt B only for this one, octahedral. This is the, all right. So they're not symmetrized, it's good to go. So what we're gonna do now is that they are parent. This is very important step. So we, although I'm not sure if it would work without the mechanism bones, maybe it would, but here we're gonna make this for organizational purpose. I think it's a good, it's not a bad idea to keep organized. We can then reuse this mechanism bone for other stuff. Ideally, I wouldn't like to have the mechanism, but actually it serves any purpose, can serve, so it's actually a good idea to have it. even though they are not an F key skeleton. Like I don't have an F key skeleton here except for the control rig, which is actually this control skeleton is a control F key I key skeleton actually, because it's because of the auto I key option. Okay, let's hide this stuff. Just keep the tweakers. Control 4 if you want to look at where it is without the, okay. Control 4, I prefer like this. Control 3, we see the axis. So what we want here is to select the octahedral here, which is this helper elbow fan bone here. Shift Alt on here. Sorry, it's the opposite. So let's try to find, yeah, Shift Alt the mechanism forearm. Shift select this one and this one. Shift Control C. We're gonna add with target copy rotation, and we're gonna go for bone constraints. And here, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna set this up. So this is this can be quite tricky. That's why these alignments, these roles are very important here for this part. So there are many things that would work, and of course plenty of other things. There's not a single solution, but with the copy, but some will be very complicated. Like local it parent here, sometimes it looks like it works, but then if you try to rotate this bone, something with the trackball, or there will be something very crazy happening. So this is dangerous, and this is even worse, or I don't know which one is worse. This is broken. This will cause any parent, master parent bone, even the root bone, to cause this copy rotation to indirectly be affected. So it's like crazy. It's like stacking transforms like crazy. So it's the horror. Never use this. It is broken. So not unless, yeah, I don't know any single case where this can be used, because unless you don't have parenting relation, yeah, at some point, or you want the stacking transforms to occur. But anyways, the very evil stacking transforms and that. So we cannot use the with parent. This will break the, in my experience, the copy rotation. So I'm using quaternions here for all these bones. So right, so to int item transforms tab, yeah, so everything is quaternion here. So I'm not sure this is default is quaternion, so maybe this is why this copy rotation is always causing problems, while the transformation bone constraint, it allows quaternions for the map from, but we're gonna do that later. So here what we want is to local space with owner orientation for the target. So this will always use its just in case its own axis. So right now in pose mode I cannot transform it because it is replace. Okay, so here we could use add, we could be for origin, after origin. I think anything will work here, but I'm gonna use the replace. But this might be why it is locked right now from posing directly, although we can, yeah, but it will be freed when we change this influence. So what we need now is to we're gonna leave the axis on so we can visualize what will happen. End panel, we need some main bone here. We're gonna pick this one, the master I key. We're gonna give some pose like here, and now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna check this. We're gonna need, we don't need the y-axis here, you can use, but for us the fan bones, differently from the twister bones, which can be used as detwister bones just for the y-axis, right, the roll, the twisting. So we don't want this because we already have bendy bones for the skeletons, so we don't, they already having this twisting feature on, so you don't need to add more twisting feature. I think the twisting is solved already, so I don't want extra complications here, although it will be just this. But yeah, I think this is not, we just want this fan bones to do their specialization, which is this plane of the X and Z axis. So it's the X and Z axis, which will be this plane there, so they will rotate We can see here, but it will rotate like this, right? In all or direct in all orientations for considering this this plane, right? Abstract plane. So Alt H here. So what we're gonna do is that Control 3. Okay, select the bone. We're gonna now. I'm not sure if we need to invert here. No, for this one is it's not an inversion. And now we need to change here. Apparently we are not getting anything to work here. The parent default mechanism for arm. So just double checking if. Okay, so I don't see any activation. I don't know what is wrong right now. So you see, this can be sometimes weird. Maybe the target is not the mechanism. No, it should be the mechanism. Maybe its parent is should be the tweak. No. Well, let's consider here. Maybe something went wrong. Okay, hide the skeleton. We just want this. This also does not automate. Okay, we deleted the mode constraint. Okay, let's do this again. Sorry. Okay, I've added a wrong transform. Here is the opposite. Okay. No, not copy transforms. It's just copy rotation. Reset this position. Okay. So local space. Let's try add and yeah, we don't see. There's nothing here. So if it had owner local with parent also. Okay. So it's not activating by no means. What the hell? So something very weird. Why I hate this. I'm just doing this because it works. If we messing off, but let's look at the other stage. What I did here, mechanism for arm. So it's not the parenting, copy rotation, mechanism for arm. Maybe it's something wrong about the mechanism for arm. Oh yeah, I think we got some. Okay, so you see, it's derotating very slightly. Here we used some. Okay, but something about the. So same parent, same target. You see, this works, but it could be something about the mechanism for arm. It doesn't have any bone constraint. It has a tweak elbow. Okay, so it's not parented anymore to the. Okay, so this might be the culprit. So we're gonna go back here. Sorry about that. So we, this is, there are different ways to do this. Probably this mechanism you have to, yeah, so see control forearm. So it needs to, we have to change this parenting. So the mechanism goes to the tweak, just as the buffer goes to the buffer. Okay, the buffer is still control. Sorry, I need to be on pause mode. Let's see here. Well, okay, Alt M. I'm tired. That's a Shift M. Mechanism skeleton. Okay, let's this, and then the tweak. There we go. Okay, saving here. So oh, now it is working. Okay, so it's just the parenting. So very important. I think I got it. Yeah, just a stupid mistake, but this happens. Control P, and then here there is this one will be an exception. So hope that it will work, but it will be parent. It is parent to the control shoulder width is this one. So it's the only one that is different, but maybe we could have a another tweak here for the upper torso, but I don't have this in this rig. I think this won't cause any problem in here, but it should be positive to do something improvements like that if something there doesn't work as expected, but in principle it should work. So here what now we found that this was the parent, so of the target bone, which is the mechanism. So now what we need to do is to set. So here we can do, we can do the replace. Then here we can do local with owner orientation, control 3. So now if we pick the master, control 3 here, let's rotate, select all, clear transforms. So now we're gonna see that, okay, so it is rotating, but it's double rotating. So it's rotating the wrong direction. You need to invert the Z and the X. Why the both? Because in this rig, the limb bends in, can bend in lots of G2. No, sorry. We can make the limb bend in other directions. So in this way, we can break the joint, and this is why we want the fan bone to correct everything. Although the problem here is that the same bone constraints affects the same influence, so maybe we don't want the same. So you could have one copy rotation for the X, one for the Z, but the same usually will be a good correction. Unless the value is too much, then maybe usually it's not too much. It's something between 0.1 and 0.4. Yeah, usually something about here. It really depends on the joint. And so this could be already a lot of the rotation. Because we have waves, this is why you need to make the waves first. We can immediately test here. So this is very good. And so here just the local width parent, which sometimes may seem better for some cases. But then what happens if we get some wild rotations here on the trackball, you'll see that sometimes and you see it's some flipping madness, and so this is a wrong thing. So probably some conflicting with the parent influences on the transforms, right? And so this we don't want, even though this one usually is like looks perfect, but then it's double broken possibly. So this is visually apparently good until you find out that it doesn't work at all. It's completely broken. So now we're gonna so you see that this could be a good amount for this. Maybe we want to check the brick of the joint or other orientations. Whatever. Rotate here. I'm not using auto IQ option. I need to reduce the auto IQ length to 2. Yeah. Okay, anyways, alt, it doesn't, this one is the best. The tweaker is the best to test here. And here, very important, this is why I've made temporarily the mechanism bones as sticks. So you can see, we can visualize between this, the mechanism and if the amount of, it's easier to, because if the mechanism is a bendy bone, you see, now they start to split. All right, so this is how we see. It's one easy way to see that from the tweaker that we are doing, that it is doing even, you see, the angle, smaller angle, sharp angle is forming here, and the bendy bone is going here. This one has no automation, so now select all, reset. We don't need the control. We can pose something here. I'm not even doing animations here, but you can make would be optimal if we're testing the waves. But here I'm just building the constraints. So you're gonna select this one of the back. This is slightly different. So you're gonna Shift Alt C to copy all the transforms. Is this constraints copy? Constraints to selected bones. Okay, so now it has the same constraint, but this, because it's in opposite direction, we the target is the same. Very interesting. We will still use this mechanism bone, although this has this parent, so it's following this by default, but is rotating according to this target, right? Mechanism parent, mechanism upper arm, but target forearm. So we can't target the mechanism here because this rotates from here, and we want the rotation of this joint, so it needs, unless we use some other trick that will recognize the angle formed between these are driver setup that does that. I never used it, but it could solve this kind of problem in theory. So here, so you don't have to care much about the bone target. It doesn't use bone target. It use actually it used, but the angle between two bone targets. That's it. While this, we are just considering its own rotations, right? So of this particular bone. Okay, so here we got, we're gonna change here because this needs on this bending here. Do you see the small sharp angle here, an oblique angle here? We want this to rotate like that. We rotate RX, right? So this orientation here, it's along the x-axis, yeah, of the fan bone. Okay, Alt Q to reset. Okay, Control 3. We want so to invert here. So it's actually the invert. So it doesn't need the invert. Only this one needs the invert. So it makes sense because they are doing the opposite thing. And here we can decide what we want. So maybe this one, it's more complicated. We can just make a rig like this with just one of the bones. It's much less tedious, but this also is an interesting proposition. And I've seen this in CG Dive tutorial. Even he has, but he wasn't doing the waves analytical as I showed. Also, he was doing this for Rigify Meta Rig, also ungenerated rig. Also, he was adding another bone that I'm not gonna make here, but I would like to make in the future, near future. But it's still trying to solve the transforms, because it will be the idea to place a bone here to make the elbows to stick, and or maybe some here to control some vertices, like a shape key, right? More helper bones. So he made a triple setup. His setup is different, even for the fan bones, but it's essentially the same thing, the same principle. But he used this extra bone, which is quite interesting, but I'm still trying to figure out how to automate it in relation to this orientation, which is virtual. Otherwise, what happened is that I'm having the bone go in wild directions and not engaging exactly in the orientation that. So I think I have an idea, because I have actually a pole target that has this orientation. So I need something perpendicular, always perpendicular to this. So probably now this should be easier to do, but with the transforms it could go very wild, right? Okay. It's a sort of map this orientation, right? So anyways, it's plane, right? Or this line. Okay, imaginary line. So here what we're gonna do is that, yeah, we need to check. Okay, it's the same thing. It's just change that we take off these things and we change the... Yeah, we don't change anything. We just change the X and Z, the inversions. And so here, of course, by doing... Here is the cool thing. We're gonna see. I see now. They very subtle, but if we augment here, we'll see better. So I'm gonna ruin this a little just to. Okay, so you see, they are derotating here, and now they are derotating there, right? So you see, they are crossing the mechanism bones, the respective mechanism bones. So this is doing the correct derotation, and same from any other view. So you see, this is the best one to test. The very mechanical, but good to test. And also we can test if there is no select RR going those wild thing with the. Sometimes we need to check this for the trackball, because the yeah, but we're not using this owner local identifier, so probably that would occur. But if the there's something wrong about the parents and I don't know, the bone constraint, then some very glitchy stuff, incorrect things can happen, and that can be disruptive. Imagine the bone flips in the middle of animation, and because it's a deformed bone, it will cause lots of crazy glitchy artifacts. Okay, now we can just do the same here. We're gonna select this one, Shift Alt C here, select this one, Shift select this one, Shift Alt C, because they are sort of equivalent, but we're gonna use this mechanism upper arm here, and so we're gonna change, well, batch here, select this and Shift select this, Control V and right mouse button click, copy to selected. So now we have these targets, but of course they are not okay, so maybe these values are too much. So here we're gonna make this very big to start with, and here again the mechanism bones will help. Oh, here we got a problem with parenting, I guess. What's happening here? Oh, we have the wrong I did it incorrectly, right? Where this came from, I don't know, but we're gonna delete this thing. We just want the stretch to bone constraint for this yeah, for this mechanism bones. Yeah, and this one has these two. So maybe what I'm gonna later on there's a setup that maybe will make this unnecessary. I'm not sure. So there, because we can automate these tweakers also in a way they are still posable. But I'm still not sure about this idea. So what we're gonna, it can cause some problems. So here, now we gonna check here with this tweaker shoulder, and we see what we are happening. Here's a bit tricky, but you see the angle that is forming here, it will be this one, and you see it derotated slightly, and here it also seems to have derotated slightly. It's very subtle, and this is a problem with the copy rotation sometimes. I believe what's happening here, yeah, you see it's a maximum, it's not enough. If I wanted more than that, I have to duplicate, maximize this to 1, then I've made a duplicate, and then we have to instead of replace this add, or maybe after, yeah, add, okay, or then we're gonna Shift D, add again. So and then the last one, but this is, it's kind of super stupid, right? Dumb, right? It works, right? It gets the job done, but I think this is really creepy, and this is why I don't like the also I don't know how to fix this with a single one. Possibly here, I don't really know what's happened, but usually if we can solve, thankfully, this is just a very, this might be just enough, so we can just leave like that. And so we got a lot of, yeah, it's a lot of derotation already. So, and of course it will be hard to check exactly in terms of deform what is happening, but you see when we rotate here, we have something. So this is rotating a lot. Let's see. We're gonna, yeah, we're gonna do this mechanism per arm and mechanism shoulder. Okay, their parenting are correct. Just this one, we couldn't parent it to a tweaker because there's no more tweaker on the we could try maybe to parent it to this tweaker. I think this is wrong, but I'm displacing the entire yeah, I think this is wrong because this is dump track to tweak elbow for an automation of the deform rig in relation to posing of the I key or even the tweak. Then is stretched to the tweak shoulder. Yeah, it is. This is probably bad parenting. So we're gonna just Control Z back to the control shoulder, right? Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to find. Okay, I don't know where I. Okay, I'm just gonna parent it. Okay, I have to Shift select, select here, Shift Alt here, Control P, that's leave like that. It is working, right? Even working better than the other regarding this thing. So something weird, but okay. The important thing is that we see that, oh, hold on. I don't see the derotation working here. Okay, this one is derotating. Well, this one, oh, it's no influence. Okay, so it's derotating as well. Okay, and it is scaling because this bendy bone has a lot of stretch too. Maybe you can change this. I don't touch this too much, but let's see. Now this doesn't seem to produce anything, so this is can be more complicated. So I'll leave it like that. If this start to create some very weird artifacts, yeah, like maybe here we can maybe try to do something about this the stretch to here. Maybe you could consider not to use this stretch to at all, but it is, the fact is the bendy bone, so we need probably to try to reduce the volume variation. So here I'm not totally sure, sorry folks, but here is what matters, is that we get okay, ignore this rotation. When I try to make this sharper, okay, this sharper, you see the mechanism, follow the mechanism. This, they derotate like this, so this is correct. And when we pose like down, now the sharper angle would be here, and and here the oblique angle, and then these bones are it doesn't seem to be working here. No, this is derotate like this, and you see slightly derotation, not too much, but yeah. So we can probably, yeah, so this one we need a lot because remember the problem. This local width parent will seem to fix something, but then remember this will cause problem. Local orientation doesn't change anything, and here, yeah, so nothing that I know here will solve this problem for this. It's probably something that could be improved by the changing the setup, the parenting, and stuff like that. Maybe using a buffer bone. I'm really not sure, but we'll try to keep this simple. Okay, so select all and reset. Okay, we have enough derotation here for this, and for this, as for this one, it's very small. Maybe we want a little, yeah. So here we have the same problem, right? It's fairly nothing, so you could shift D, we can add and could have more derotations, I guess. Yeah, so a lot of this derotation if we needed more. Fortunately, we don't. Yeah, I see these are a lot of derotation already. So look at 90 degrees derotation. Usually you don't want that, so we can, I'm just gonna leave just the first one with replace. And so this, because there's this value here, I can still pose manually, but it's a bit sluggish, but it works. Okay, so here we got these setups here, and finally, this is very tedious, right? Copy rotation bone constraint, it's nightmarish, so I hate it. So now we're gonna do the other one. So remember the buffer bone, this is the last one, so the wrist, so this is the most complicated one, and so I'm gonna use a better bone constraint here, which is the copy transform. So remember, we need here the helper, we need the skeleton for the hand, we need the mechanism, and we need the tweaker. Okay, so we can just pick the bones that we need. So we're gonna get the two dual fan bones, the buffer, the mechanism buffer, the tweaker, and that's all. Yeah. Also this mechanism forearm here. Okay, Shift H. Okay, we just need this for now. We're gonna be posing with this. Oh, sorry. Also, we'll have also the master. Okay, let's leave the master here because we'll have to make different poses here from not only the tweaker but with the master to see if the automation will respond, because this is the big problem here. Usually what happens in this kind of setup is that because this is parented to here, this will respond to the fan bones automation, will respond to this direct posing, but will not respond to these major other higher bones in the hierarchy, because it's a parenting relation, and this is just parented to it, so they don't respond the automation. So this is there will be other ways to fix that, but it's usually quite complicated problem, advanced problem of rigging. But it's doable, but sometimes like this it can be really complicated. So what you're gonna do, first revise the parenting. So the buffer is parent to the tweak, and the hand is parent to the buffer. So this will work for the derotation. So parenting and derotation bone constraint works, but sometimes it will fail with the copy rotation bone constraint in ways I cannot explain, and transformation bone constraint will do the thing more often correct, will spare some headaches, a lot actually, but it's a bit more complicated, big bone constraint, so it's also tricky to get familiar with and to edit. It's not like just set the influence. It's annoying too, but it is very doable. So here what we're gonna do is that we just bring, let's start with this one, and so with this setup, oh, by the ways, we need this to have a pathway, not of parenting only, control 2, from the tweak wrist, right, which is this one. We want the buffer to be completely bone constrained, so select the tweaker wrist and shift select the buffer bones, shift control C, add transform bone constraint with target, copy transform. So this is a full pose space stuff, cannot work without world space of pose space. I can't find it to work with local space, even not with custom space. So we need a full copies here of especially it's important for the location, but the location have the parents. It's especially important here in the case of the rotation. So now it has the pathway of the copy transforms directly to here, and it's very important for this bone constraint that they have the same position in the same alignment. So because if this bone will lead other bones like the hand bone, if it swaps position like immediately, right, it's automatic rotate. If it had another orientation on rest position, like something like that, it will immediately swap, and look what happens to the hand. So no, not good. So we want this bone to have exactly the same positioning of the buffer bone. So then we don't have these instant transforms, which can be very risky. So what we gonna do now is that we're gonna bone constraint the. So now you see the hand moves, everything is apparently correct, except that there's no automation for the fan bones. So we just need to select the buffer bone, which will be the target. Shift click the Control 1, shift click this wrist helper bone. Shift Control C, transformation bone constraint here, and then we're gonna get local space. We can get local space or on orientation. I don't remember why I put the extrapolate. Maybe this is important for this setup with fan bones. I don't remember why, but it can be useful. Map from. So here's the tricky part. We want both Z and X axis. Remember that the deformed bones, the deformed bones of the skeleton already are bendy bones, so they don't need the twisting features. So now we need to set a value negative here and positive here. So this is just abstract values, just to say that, oh, sorry, let's reset this. It's rotation, map from rotation. So we'll use the own local orientation of this and local space. Okay, so this is just it could work like this as well. So in this case, it will be barely no difference. both will work. So here, very important, quaternion, because I'm using all the bones in this rig have quaternions in principle. So we're gonna do here just as preset. We need to do this manually, unfortunately, is to say there's a range of motion that will trigger, of rotations that will trigger this, and these rotations are just this, right? Sufficient here to trigger, but nothing is being triggered. So we need to, after this map from is set, right? Mode, quaternion, rotation, blah, blah. So this we might not have in the copy rotation about constraints, but I've made some tests. I think it's not because of this. It's something else. It's the whole thing about how the bound constraint works. So this is works more like a driver, the transformation bound constraint, and it's much better. So here we're gonna skip this. Here we don't touch, right? 0, 0. So nothing. Actually, rotation again. So from map from rotation, map to rotation. So it's map from the target bone, which is the buffer bone, and then here is where we decide the automation. So you can start using the here. Let's see. So here we're gonna make a symmetric thing in principle. We could do asymmetric, but that will cause some problems in this setup, because the idea here, we can try. So here, now we're gonna do exactly the inversion of this. This is regular. Minimum is an arc, right? A negative half circle, and the max is the other circle. So this is symmetric. Now we're gonna do. We want a derotation. So instead of going negative here and positive here, which will just add transforms to the owner bone, I guess. No, it's not stacking transform. So we're gonna, okay, this is X and this is the add. Okay, exactly like this. So we're gonna do instead, okay, let's try something here. Okay, for some reason this doesn't seem to be adding anything, contrary to what I thought. So but yeah, this is not doing, but this is not what I want. Add, we want actually to do the inverse here, because it's a derotation. So you can start with a negative. Yeah, so instead of negative here for the mean, it will derotate in relation to this, that amount, when it reaches 100. So it's just a proportion. It's like you divide this value by this value, so you have like 3. So it's like 1/3. It's derotating by 1/3. So 3 times, about 3 times. Well, actually, something seems to be. Oh, okay. The setup is not ready. Hold on. This is automating, but from the tweaker bone. No. Oh, okay, the parent is wrong. Sorry, folks. This parent is actually is not the tweaker bone. This parent is crazy. We can even parent to the COG, but because it has the, now you see the derotations, and here, well, we haven't set this one. We just set for the X. Right, so, or we can parent it to the mechanism, which I think would be more adequate, but we can't parent it to the, so now the buffer is part of the mechanism forearm. Okay, it's a different kind of parenting for this, but it can't be parented to the tweaker here, because that will make it lose this copy transforms it can work in some case, but for the automation it won't do, because then it is copying the, well, it is the parenting relation, it's following its parent, and then it's not adding the copy transforms for its transform. So it's like some redundant thing that will negate the effect from automation system setup. So okay, so I need to have a different parent, and you see that even that would work, and if the COG, but I think this is better, and I've tested that should work too. So here, okay, buffer bone don't parent to the tweaker. So while I think we did this something like this for the others, right? And that worked with the copy rotation, but here it won't work because this part is way more complicated. So we need this different setup. So here, by the way, copy rotation bone constraint, I wasn't able to make it successful. Just don't automate properly. You need a very specific setup of bones, I think, to get it to work. It's very complicated, actually. I wasn't able to achieve it. Okay, so we're about to complete this, folks. It's already too long, but very interesting challenge here. So we gonna now go back to the fan bone here. So we're gonna, yeah, we got the map from Don. Then we got, yeah, so here's the same, well, maybe not the same thing. So here we get these separations, so maybe we don't want, yeah, so this is kind of fun. So remember, the minimum is the positive now, because, and the maximum is negative, inversely mirroring these ideas. So this is the amount of derotations that, so I believe this is the, let's see, which is the, okay, the x-axis up and down, and the z-axis will be sideways, right? So now we'll check the automation if it works from, okay, we see that it is derotating. It's symmetric, but it's derotating, and in both the in the whole orientation. Also this, and this is very good because it also solves diagonal. So if you can do this, I'm thinking about making bone helper bones that work like fan bones like this. So we don't need to care about deltas, for example, because because this will solve this whole arc, this whole stuff, x and z plane of rotations in its, and then the local width parent will usually cause that madness that we see in the trackball thing. No, here seems to be fine, but I think this is dangerous. So local space just here, and here it doesn't really matter because, well, maybe you'll have to make some adjustments to the settings, but yeah, we're gonna, I think this is safer. Okay. So derotation, this seems to be derotation enough. We don't see the results in the mesh exactly, but you can check on your own later. You're gonna, if I disable this, we can see some results, and also it'd be better to look at this with the subdivision surface modifier, right? So if I check here, just this bone, let's turn off this deform property. Yeah, I see nothing too much here, but you see that, okay, we see what it can do, right? Maybe you can change the waves there if you, maybe it's deforming too much the hand there, and it's more the joint that matters. Maybe expand some stuff or reduce, you name it. So we haven't completed it yet anyways, because there's still this one. So we could consider that this is sufficient for this, right? It's adding these steps. So now we're gonna do the same thing for the other one, this one. So we're gonna select this, shift select the first one, shift alt C. It's my own shortcut for this full override copying of the bone constraints. And now it got everything there, but now we're gonna make something. We probably have to make some adjustments here. Also very important, sorry, forgot, we need to test. Okay, so you see this one is rotating back and this is good, but this is rotating here, so you need to do this differently here because it's inverted. So we're gonna just, here we're gonna do probably this thing, and here probably the same idea. So because this is, now they are good, yeah. So you need to test for both the tweaker and reset all, and for the master in this rig I have, so you can see if this bone is also, which is higher in the hierarchy, is the parent of the tweak bone, right? It is also automating, and yes, it is automating. So, and even this one is automating, but these don't have really the rotation capabilities, but we can still force the wrist to bend in some ways and see if but if it is working already, this is also even higher in hierarchy. If this is working and not only the wrist, then we have achieved. If not even the wrist is working, then this is because so you see we having even this one is trying. So we don't need to test this one unless you want to. Usually I would test everything just to make sure, but everything seems to be working here. So I've decided that the side bendings here are lesser derotation, and here will be more derotation. But this is arbitrary. Feel free to do as you prefer. So I just duplicated it. I copied the bone constraint and inverted this value. So these are now matching this, but it's just because this bone, since the beginning, we have made it with specific inverted orientations in relation to this one. So if, for example, rolls, I mean the rolls. So actually not. Okay, but it's probably, and because this is the wrist or the hand, I've decided, let's make this align with the hand, right? So of course, if I reset, if I reset this, it will do like that, right? No, we want this to be sort of mirroring, so it's not actually symmetric. It's symmetric, but it's not totally symmetric. I mean, it's like just this fake symmetry here, partial symmetry, which will then allow, will make this difference here to happen, right? But it really depends, whichever works, right? But I think that this is a intuitive way, although it's tricky, but it works, and it's not too hard to set up. So here we unsolo all. What I'm doing here, select the. I've made the show bones. No, it's not that. What happened here? End panel. Okay, so apparently we got some problem here. So in principle, what we got here is that we're gonna fix we got everything working here, so you can test the rig, and but I need to reset the unsolo all, unhide all, Alt H, select all, Alt Q, and so now everything is working, but we need to make sure that the collections, okay, here we got this collection. We can also symmetrize, but before that we need to add the okay, this mechanism skeletons, we want to, okay, Shift Alt X, this is my select mirror shortcut, select mirror extend here, and on the adjust last operation region, right? And then Shift Alt B, hold Alt, and let's go back to B bone, because they are B bones. We want to be able to look at them as B bones. Okay, so I just made them as sticks, so it will be easy. Remember to check on the fan bones transform, so you can. So in principle, that is pretty much it. But there is a little tweak here that I'm not totally convinced that it will be good in the end, but we can explore this possibility. So basically, we can have the, let's get the master here. Let's hide the, let's hide this. Let's hide the fan bones. Let's enable the control skeleton. So we can, for example, have this bone automate with maybe a dumped track. This is usually creepy bone constraint, just on the other tweak bone because it corresponds to the deform rig. So you can just do this and the Shift Control C, dump at track. Of course, not 100 because we want it to be free. So something like this, half. So you have this kind of automation which can. Oops, hold on. Yeah, so you have this kind of automation, but then there is a little problem. Of course, this bone would already, if you look at the axis, reset all. If we do a GZ here, GX, sorry, you see that it is moving along this axis here, right? But this is not totally aligned with orthogonal. The bone is already a bit, it's already, and it also suffer transforms from the control skeleton, or so GX on local, so you see it's diagonal. So really this dump at track, if I disable it, GX, you see, hold on, maybe I was wrong. No, you see GX, so it doesn't need the dump at track. This won't really be responsible for ruining this axis. It will be ruined anyways because it is following by parenting the setup. What you could have is another bone that would override, that will be, we have something like that for a pin bone, but that's all another story. So so this won't ruin these things because they are already ruined. So what we need here, but it will make the, not the posing, the grabbing, but the rotations of this bone less responsive. But that's okay. This is not a bone that we really need to rotate a lot in principle, right? It can even be dangerous in most parts. This one, however, this one doesn't need the dump at track. It's more for this on these joints. And then it's still free to sort of. And then for this, we're gonna do the same thing. So dump at track, but to this other bone target, this other twig. And here, but this will do the same, essentially the same idea that the mechanism bone is already doing. So this is kind of creepy. I think this is might be actually stupid, but it could possibly improve something. There's an disadvantage. It will always, yeah, of course, we don't want 100%. So maybe here we want just 2.5, something like that, right? Very, and I can still move this as a master shoulder. The deforms here, I need to go back to the, they will have more deformed bone skeleton for this part. Let's clear everything here. Let's see. These automations. Yeah, so you see this automation here for the tweak could be okay, right? But maybe I don't want the shoulder to be moving. I want the arm to be stiff, depending on the animation style I'm making. So then we have even to disable this mechanism setup here that we have. We have these double things here. Okay, let's leave the stretch too, at least. Yeah, it's still moving the shoulder, right? So, but it's not automated. Then this will, it's targeting the tweaker, right? Tweak elbow. So it's even some displacing here from the control bone, but okay. And then, of course, this pose is very interesting. And this is a bit hard to do with the current setup. But you see, we get, yeah, this is far from optimal, but we are getting quite harsh rotations here. But we see that we're getting some interesting results, even despite of the artifacts, right? So we can solve this even more with more sophisticated rig on the upper torso. And here would need, this is where for this complex joint, because the anatomy is different, right? We really need to have some developments in, and here's where the idea that I've mentioned about the fanny bones surrounding this already derotating bone here. You see that when we pose this, for You see, the bone is already derotating the mesh of the joint. So maybe here we could expand a little here. We could make a little correction here, maybe. Let's try on pose mode. Let's take off. Let's just simplify. So maybe here we could Shift Alt Z. We can try to expand for this a little here. Expanding, adding, it's not a problem here, I guess. As long as I don't touch that other part. Probably I should mask. I see, maybe this is not a terrible idea here. What if I get... can I derotate more? What happens? So we can make some tests and see. Not grabbing. So GX, I don't know what is the axis here that will be corresponded, but yeah, it is. You see that probably we need to adjust some generic waves here on. Maybe there's some. Yeah, I suspect that it's the shoulder waves in general. Everything here, they are too close. These waves. I think this is probably I need to redo this one's. It's certainly wrong. It shouldn't have. And if it has waves here, it's because the shoulder has already too much waves in this region. So here I'm done. You see, so I made it very analytic, but on top of a rig that wasn't very good already on the shoulder. So we can get better results so this will be very ruinful to be doing this non-analytical, I think, because these bones, yeah, see, I don't want to do this. So this fan bone setups, I think there was a time where I didn't know and I kept doing this very intuitively and see the results, and that was very interesting. But they can be used analytical, and I think this is better. And then okay, so since maybe I messed something there. Yeah, maybe. Okay, this is enough. So you see, we can also, it's probably here something we can improve, but just by the waves. But you see, this is very radical posing, and we're getting some interesting deforms already that fix some artifacts. And we don't even have any trapezium, scapula, armpits, or upper shoulder, collarbone, clavicle, chest, rig, helper system there to support this shoulder, all this back thing, and we are getting already cool effects, right? If we disable that, the transform is also a way to visualize with and without. So sometimes the result might not be very impressive, but if you look at the augmentation of the you can this for both, right? You can try to fix this change here. Also for the transformation bone constraint, you can do this, but usually I don't like to do this too much on here, but this could be a good idea actually, especially if you maybe use the same values here. I'm not sure, but you can test on your own. Here we can see if we can play with this and see what looks better besides the waves, and we can also disable the transform. See that maybe this is not a great idea to disable the. We have maybe better. Yeah, see the amount of. So it really is fixing some crazy volume loss here with crazy pinching art. Yeah, I don't know how to call this. It's not a bulge. It's not maybe a pinching. It's really a horrid thing that the mesh goes inside, right, inwards. But this helps a lot to solve. And this one also, so if we disable them both, and also if we derotate this one, maybe GX, what will be, yeah, let's actually use the, yeah, so if it derotated a lot, we could have, I don't know what is the maximum derotation. Yeah, I'm confused here. It is parent to the mechanism shoulder. Oh no, it's parented here. So actually we can check from here. Disable. Okay, so this is without without any transform, it is like this. And this is yeah, 90 degrees the rotation. So this will be its original, and this will be like growing. So yeah, we want a lot of the rotation for interesting, right? So you can play with this. So this is never seen the rotation like that for a fun bone, but in this case, this seems to be good from this one that is facing backwards, right? Differently from this one. Then of course we need to test this from other other uh, other other poses, right? And see what. And here of course we need to ideally I would fix this mesh topology here, this geometry. It's too simple. We can make something better here, anatomically more correct anyways. So this is a little failure in this. Is the only thing that I really disliked in this mesh topology here for this character, and that I left because okay, I'm tired of doing that. And so we are going to stop here, folks. We got everything. So double checking here. That's it, folks. So that was quite long, but this was quite productive, and it is very interesting. So finally I got this thing well documented. There's one way of doing that that I've showed, right? There will be many other ways to do this rig. So thanks for watching, folks. Hope that can be useful. Take care, happy blendering, have a nice week, and see ya. Maybe tomorrow we'll be back with more of this. And that's it, folks. Thanks again. Hope that is interesting.